Good morning, everybody. I am back in the basement, and it is early morning. Just got up, had some tea, still drinking some of it, and just wanted to think about what the new development is in my photography journey. So, all the buzz is with the Fuji X-M5, and I think it's a compelling camera. I haven't decided yet what my move is going to be with that new camera. I'm thinking about, consolidating, retooling. I think it's something as photographers we always think about. Like, the output is always the most important thing. Getting your photos is the most important thing, but sometimes you want to shuffle the deck and move some tools around. Think about what the future holds. We're always evolving, we're always changing. And sometimes new tools and sometimes old tools are ways to kind of spark a new creative thing you're going to do. So I'm thinking more about my everyday carry more and more these days, as well as doing these videos for YouTube and documenting my journey and other things, and also professional work, right? Doing things in the field for pro, use. So thinking more about the everyday carry side, I thought about the X-M5 and how my X70, my Ricoh GR, and my Fuji XS10 all come into play. So I'm shooting on my XS10, which I normally do. I think it's a great camera to shoot with. I'm probably gonna keep that. Also, my wife likes it. That's her camera. When she second shoots with me, she likes this one to shoot with. She likes the grip. She likes the PASM dial. She's comfortable with that. She's used to being in the Canon and the Nikon, DSLR and stuff like that. So, this is more for her. And I shoot with the X-T2, and then my backup is usually my X Pro 2, which I also shoot on the street as well. But when I'm not shooting on the street with the X Pro 2, I have my X70 and the Ricoh GR. But in lieu of waiting for the black version of the X-M5, because I haven't seen any pre-orders for that as of yet, I decided to go old school. As some of you know, my channel started more about the X-T1, which is my favorite Fujifilm camera. It got me into the system. I've owned it twice, and it was the camera that really bridged the gap for me to kind of fully go into the Fuji land from Canon and other systems that I was using, DSLRs. And I liked everything about the idea of it. And I ultimately felt that the X-T2 was the better version ultimately for me for a few reasons, because of the megapixel count and the lockable dials being free, free to change instead of permanently locked and you have to press the button. So those little tweaks, did it for me. And also the extra battery in the battery grip. So those three things kind of made the X-T2 the more significant camera for me as a workhorse camera. X-T1 was my favorite because it kind of like introduced, oh, this thing is legit. Like, Fuji is legit. That's my thing. So I kind of went old school and said, I'm not getting the X-M5 yet. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to blow the money on it. It's not like it's not reasonably priced, but if I'm going to go that route, it's a consolidated camera in my eyes. It takes the place of, say, the XS10 and the X70 in a way, because they kind of put them together, right? Vlog camera with the flip out screen, but yet small enough to be an everyday carry without a viewfinder like an X70. So I'm like, all right, I'm gonna hold on to what I got for now. So what I did get was an X-T10. Yes. So the baby brother to the X-T1. And I've literally got this yesterday. So I didn't, I've only shot with it literally for an evening last night. But also, obviously I'm a Fuji user, so I'm super familiar. I've already set it up, customized it the way I like. Everything's in there, 100%. I'm ready to go. It's good to go for me. So my initial thoughts on it is, this might have been the camera I should have got initially, instead of the X-T1 when I really think about it. Now, different cameras. X-T1 is a pro body, has the battery grip, The ISO dial's there. It's weather sealed. It's not the same camera. But in terms of the evolution of my setup, this X-T10 would have still probably been here since the beginning, unlike the X-T1, which got replaced by the X-T2. Because the shutter dial is free, I don't have to have the lockable dials. It's inside, the size is everyday carry-ish, smaller. And I think those two factors would allow it to kind of move down into the lineup, into what it is for me now as like a option for daily carry, while the X-T2 would have been the flagship, which it is now, for me to do my workhorse, like professional work. And that's what I like about it. It's small enough to fit with me every day. You know, I have the 18f2 on it. I also would use it with the 27mm 2.8 pancake lens. So these smaller lenses are going to be kind of the one, you know, the A and B lenses for this camera. And it makes a lot of sense because when I'm using the Ricoh GR or the X70, although I love those cameras for the size, and that's the compromise, the size, they're really, really small. You know, they're smaller than this, obviously, but I don't have a viewfinder, you know, and that's the thing. On those bright days when you really want to compose critically, you know, it's like I need that viewfinder. Now, someone will probably say, well, why don't you just use your XS10? Well, although the XS10 is a small camera, it kind of has a big feel to it because the grip is big. And so in the bag, it's going to take up a little more room than I really want it to. And then ultimately, the shooting experience with it is different because it has a flip out screen. This has a tilt screen, right? So this tilts, so that waist level, you know, down low shooting, you know, it's different. And the PASM dial is different. It's not the traditional XT style with the, you know, shutter dial and the aperture, you know, front and center. So I don't really jive with it for photography, you know, and for some reason I just don't bring it out for that. You know, it's a great camera for photography. I mean, you're gonna get great results with it, just like anything else. But you know, we're getting into this because of a connection with the camera, and so I just never really connected with the camera. I would more often likely take the X Pro 2 if I'm gonna take a camera that's not small as the X-T10 or the other two smaller point and shoots, then I'm just gonna go take the X Pro 2. It's smallish enough, even though this is technically a bigger camera than the XS10, it doesn't have a big feel to it because of the rangefinder shape. You know, it has the flat top, it doesn't have a huge grip on the front. You know, the grip is actually really good straight up, straight out, so I don't really tend to put my extension grips on it unless I'm carrying bigger, heavier lenses for a long period of time, like a big job. But just for street shooting with family, I take it just like this. You know, it feels fine. It doesn't feel huge. It has a compact feel, even though it's not a compact. It's not really compact. It's not huge, obviously, but it's not a massive camera. And it's still bigger than the XS10, but the XS10 feels bigger to me for some reason. So, you know, these are all first world problems, guys. Let's not take it too serious, and I'm not either. But you know, we got to have fun with what we're doing, right? So anyway, back to the X-T10. So I like this camera. This is gonna be, I'm gonna experiment with this. Obviously, I know the image quality so well because the X70 and the X-T1 have the same X-Trans 2 16 megapixel sensor. I don't feel the need for personal and artistic creation that I need more than that. So I did contemplate getting the X-T20, but I decided not to because it was $300 more. And I think that didn't really provide, this is the value to me, right? I got this for about $450, which is still pretty high for a very old camera. But I know this camera, the X70, I know it. It's a similar processing, and I get more from it. And it almost begs to me that, you know, something else might have to go because this is taking a spot, you know. I kind of, when I look at my lineup, I have spots. Everything's got to have a place. There's no reason to have redundancy unless you just want to collect it. And that's kind of what I'm toying with. Like, do I just want to keep it to collect, or do I get rid of redundancy, right? I think the Ricoh and the X70 are redundant. They're both 28 millimeter equivalent, 16 megapixel cameras that are pocketable. And although they are different cameras, they feel different to me. They have different features. The X70, has, traditional dials. The PASM dial is with the Ricoh. So they're not the same camera. So there could be an argument to say, well, just keep them both and you just, whatever feel you want, you keep it. But to me, I'm sitting on money. That's how I look at it. I'm sitting on money that I could either recycle the funds or get something in my lineup that is missing or that I want to get into, like a lens or something like that. So it's something to consider. So I haven't made a decision yet. For now, I'm keeping all cameras, and I'm just going to have some fun with this miniature X-T10 interchangeable. It's another thing. It's interchangeable, so I can use it with all my other lenses, although it's a smaller, camera. So that's all I got. Just wanted to share. That's what this channel is all about. I don't want to get too into the weeds about technical things. It's more about having a conversation, sparking ideas, revisiting things. And at some point, I'm going to share some photos. So check my reels, my shorts, actually. That's a different platform. Check the shorts and then stay tuned. All right. Peace, y'all. See you on the next one.